And tonight in Your America, there is shocking new evidence that schools all across the country are going to great lengths to indoctrinate your children. 11 new videos of students being forced to sing, dance, and speak in praise of the anointed one, President Barack Obama, have been uncovered by BigHollywood.Breitbart.com. Now, here's a sample of some of those videos.
Obama is fresh, Obama is cool. He has 2 daughters that like to go to school. If they're outside, they jump in the pool. Publicity around, we have to follow the rules.
And joining me now with reaction is the author of The Culture of Corruption, Obama and his team of tax cheats, crooks, and cronies, Michelle Malkin. Just imagine if this was George Bush. Imagine if this were George Bush. What would the reaction be, Michelle?
Well, it would be Armageddon in the halls of the elite media offices in New York and Washington, D.C. But this is completely acceptable. It's not a shock or surprise to me. Back in September, when President Obama gave his speech to the nation's school children, I warned that the real problem wasn't with the boilerplate speech that he ended up delivering to those students. The real problem is the radicalization of these students, the use of children across America as junior lobbyists for the left that goes on every day. And it's when parents are least paying attention that this stuff goes on. And I think you have to connect the dots and look at the ideological roots of how this happens. The National Education Association is essentially a satellite organization of the Democrats and the left. And this week I reported, and many blogs pointed to, a page on the NEA site that recommends the radical Marxist Saul Alinsky's books, Rules for Radicals, for these teachers. And the slogan, agitate, educate, organize, is something that they've adopted. It's the radicalism that is the real problem here, and the total waste of intellectual human capital. Instead of these kids learning to memorize Paul Revere's Ride or the Gettysburg Address, they're memorizing hymns to President Obama.
I got to tell you, it's almost like they're putting him on a pedestal. It's almost like godlike worship. And frankly, for schools that, don't allow any mention of God or don't allow any mention of, religion, it almost seems like this bizarre form of worship of the president. Do you see it that way?
I certainly do. There are definitely issues here that raise questions about the separation of cult and state. And public schools have to be held accountable for this. I have a saying in my house, Sean, and I have 2 kids. They're 9 and 5.5. And my saying is, I am my kid's czar. Not these teachers, not these principals, not anyone else. And if you abdicate that responsibility, this is exactly what you're going to get.
Is that sort of like